here we are at the Space and Self Live episode 1, and we're really focusing on why your space feels out of sync with who you are now. I'm Yvonne Bignall, and I'm so thrilled to be here with you. Now, this series was born from a very simple truth. The spaces that we live in are not just kind of backgrounds in our lives. They're active participants in how we feel, in how we think and show up every day. And today, I have the absolute pleasure of co-hosting this with the wonderful Surabhi Kumari, joining us all the way from India, an architect whose work beautifully merges wellness, psychology, and design. Together, we're diving into how your home can become a mirror of your evolution rather than a container of your past.
Thank you, Yvonne, and hello to everyone tuning in. I'm Surabhi, an architect and wellness space strategist. For me, design has never just been about walls and windows. It's about energy, identity, and belonging. Through space and self, our intent is to help women reconnect with themselves to the environments they create. Because your home has a language, and that language constantly speaks to your mind and body.
Beautifully said. And that brings us to our theme for today's conversation. One that I think, every woman can relate to at some point in their lives. Why does your home sometimes feel out of sync with who you are right now?
Yes, haven't we all felt that quiet feeling of something's off, even when everything looks fine on the surface? You've grown, you've shifted, maybe in your mindset or your lifestyle, your priorities. But when you walk into your living room or bedroom, something in that space still feels like old you. Doesn't that happen to you?
Oh my goodness, exactly. And it's because we evolve, but our spaces often don't. And that subtle kind of mismatch between who we've become and what surrounds us can quietly drain our energy, for sure. It's not always dramatic. It shows up as restlessness or clutter that feels heavier than it should, or even the sense that your home doesn't quite fit anymore.
Right. And this isn't about redecorating or keeping up with trends. It's about realignment. We are talking about recognizing when your space is holding onto an older version of you, the version you made those choices, bought those things, or set up that routine, and learning how to gently realign your home with the woman you are becoming.
Oh, so true. So, over the next sort of 25 to 30 minutes, we'll explore together how to listen to your space as a reflection of your inner life, and how even the smallest shifts can bring more calm, clarity, and confidence into your daily rhythm.
Yes, this is about creating harmony between your outer and inner worlds. Your space can either drain you or support you. And when it supports you, it becomes your quietest ally in personal growth.
Yeah, so true. So go grab yourself a tea or a coffee, whatever is for you. Settle into a cozy spot, and let's begin this journey into your space and how it might feel out of sync, and then how you can bring it back into the flow with you. Surabhi, when I started going through my own midlife shift, I noticed something funny and honestly a bit unsettling. Now, this is kind of a little bit of going back. So, my story is I can remember sort of in my late 30s, early 40s, very wanting to be surrounded by really vibrant and loud colours. And there was because I felt like that matched my energy, right? It was that busy, always hosting, always doing stuff kind of vibe that was going on. Every corner was arranged for entertaining, open, social living. But the woman I was becoming, so that transition that was happening, what I really craved were slow mornings. And I yearned for soft light and gentle music and a real sense of stillness. And I remember one Sunday morning, kind of just sitting with a cup of tea, looking around and thinking, wow, this room is so loud, even in silence.
Yes.
And then it hit me, it wasn't that my life felt cluttered, it was my space. It was holding to an identity that no longer belonged to me.
That's so beautifully put, Yvonne. I think so many women will resonate with that. I've seen this pattern again and again with my clients, with my friends. There was one woman I worked with, incredibly accomplished, top professional, very self aware, and yet her home felt like a time capsule. She had designed it in her late 20s when her world revolved around energy, ambition, and hosting friends. Everything was bold, bright walls, heavy furniture, statement pieces everywhere. But when I met her, she was in a completely different season of life, craving
Mm.
quiet, reflection, ease. She said to me, my space feels like my past. It's beautiful, but it's not me anymore. And that was such a profound moment because
Mm.
beauty wasn't the issue, alignment was. We shared simplifying. We started simplifying, softening edges, creating breathing room, replacing loud energy with warmth and lightness. A few moments later, a few months later, she told me, for the first time in years, I feel at home in my own home.
Ooh, that kind of gives me chills, honestly. Because our homes, they do hold our stories. Yeah, we forget this. Sometimes the very chapters we've already outgrown. And that's the thing, isn't it? Um, they remember who we were, the parties we hosted, the goals that we chased, the versions of ourselves we once needed to be. But as we evolve, these same spaces can start to feel heavy, some sort of discomfort, almost like they're whispering an outdated story. So there's an energy and a vibe that goes with that. And that's when we know it's time for an update, not just of decor, but of identity.
Exactly, because your space is an emotional landscape. If it doesn't evolve with you, it starts to quietly resist your growth. And once you realize that every shift you make, even something as small as moving a chair, changing a color, or clearing
Mm,
a shelf, starts feeling like an act of self honoring.
yeah, yeah. And such an empowering perspective, isn't it? To see your home not as something fixed or finished, but as something that grows with you. That's when design becomes personal transformation.
Yes. Let's slow down for a moment and uh, really reflect. If you are listening right now, maybe even sitting in your living room or at your work desk, or perhaps in your bedroom, take a quiet breath and ask yourself, does this space still represent my current season of life? Or
Mm,
does it still hold onto an older chapter, one that might no longer feel like me? Sometimes we evolve faster than our environments do. You might have shifted emotionally, spiritually, or professionally, but your home, your colors, your layout, your habits, they may still belong to who you used to be. And that's
mm,
okay. Awareness is where change begins.
yeah. Always, always. And that's such an important point. It's because it's so easy to miss the signs. We think it's just my room or it's just clutter, but often it's more than that. It's more than that. Our spaces carry emotional imprints. And I mean, a lot of that I just need to add, I have really been able to take on board thanks to you, really understanding this, you know. So here's something to feel into. Where in your home do you feel most yourself? That could be a chair, it could be a corner, a patch of morning light, anywhere that feels like an exhale, that release. And then ask, where do you feel most drained? So which corner makes you tense or restless or even slightly sad? You don't need to analyze it right away. Just notice. Your body always knows before your mind catches up.
Exactly. Those two questions alone, where do I feel like myself or where do I feel drained, can open a door to deep awareness because your space is in constant dialogue with your nervous system. When it's in sync with you, who you are, it holds you, it grounds you, it supports your creativity and your calm. You find yourself breathing easier, moving slower, feeling more like you. But but when it's out of sync, it's quietly resist you. You might find yourself feeling agitated, unfocused, or even disconnected, and you can't explain why.
Yeah, yeah, I've experienced that. And that's the beauty of this conversation, really, isn't it? We're not talking about big renovations or
Mm.
perfect aesthetics. We're talking about gentle awareness, the kind that starts with noticing what your space is reflecting back to you. Because when you listen to your environment with curiosity instead of criticism, it starts to whisper what it needs and what you need to. Let's talk more about why this actually happens, because there's a reason for all these things. Why our homes can feel out of sync with who we are now. Because it's not that we didn't care about our spaces or that we don't care about our spaces. Of course we do. It's just that life moves fast, right? We evolve, our priorities shift, our energy changes, but our environments quite often stay the same. We step into new roles, mother, entrepreneur, caretaker, healer, leader, any and all of those things. Yet our surroundings quietly hold onto the old scripts of who we once were. And that's where this subtle disconnection begins.
Exactly. There's a term I use for this: spatial inertia. It's like emotional gravity that keeps our spaces anchored to our past selves.
Mm.
We keep the same layouts, the same objects, even the same habits, not because they still serve us, but because they once did. That corner desk, when you pulled all nighters in your 20s, the bookshelf filled with things you once studied but no longer relate to, the
Mm.
bright cushions you chose when your life was all about gas and energy and movement, all those carry emotional residue, little echoes of the women you used to be. It's not clutter in the physical sense, it's clutter of identity.
Oh, that's such a beautiful way to put it. Oh, I like that. Clutter of identity. Yes. And when we don't update our spaces as we evolve, we start to feel sort of quiet friction. Can't always put your finger on it. It's like walking around in clothes that no longer fit. Not wrong, just no longer you. And midlife, especially, I've found, is such a powerful time for this reflection, because it's often the season when we begin asking, what's still true for me? What needs to change? What feels aligned with who I'm becoming?
Yes. And I always remind women this is not about chasing perfection. It's not about creating a picture perfect home. It's about restoring harmony. Your space is an ecosystem, physical, emotional, sensory. When one part of it stops resonating with you, the whole system feels slightly off balance. But when you begin to realign, even in small ways, you create coherence. A coherence in your environment brings coherence to your inner state.
Oh, that's such a deep truth. Oh, yes. Because when your space starts matching your inner frequency, life feels less like pushing and more like flowing. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Right.
You start to feel supported even in silence. Your morning light feels softer, your evenings calmer. And gosh, we all want this, right?
Mm,
Not because the world's changed, but because your environment is finally reflecting who you are. Mm.
absolutely. When we begin, we design with intention. We are not decorating, we are evolving. Your home becomes a living mirror of your growth, not a museum of your past. And that shift from stagnation to reflection is where healing begins.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love that. Not a museum of your past. Great terminology, but a mirror of your evolution. Yeah.
Evolution.
Yeah, that's really the essence of space and self, though, isn't it? Understanding that our environments can be our greatest teachers if only we pause long enough to listen.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So let's get practical with this and kind of look at some micro activities and spatial shifts, because I think this is often sometimes like the hardest bit. Well, what do I do with that information? What does that mean? So let's really bring this into practice, because awareness is powerful, but action, even small action, I like to call them micro actions, is
Mhm.
what starts the shift. So let's give everyone a few micro activities to try today. These are not big makeovers, they are gentle, mindful moments of reconnection between you and your space.
Yes, absolutely. I like to think of these as tiny rituals of renewal. Each one creates a ripple in your environment and in your energy. Let's start with the first one, the mirror check. This one's simple but reveal. Take a slow walk through your home, maybe with your morning tea or at the end of the day when things are quiet, and ask yourself, does this space energize me or exhaust me? Don't judge, don't fix, just notice. Notice where your body softens and where it tightens. Notice which corners invite you in and which one you unconsciously avoid. Because
Mm.
your body is your most honest compass. It knows where harmony exists and where it doesn't.
Mm. Oh, that's such a powerful awareness exercise to do, right? And I love that you said, don't fix, just observe, because we kind of get caught up in the fixing bit. We're
Mm.
often really quick to start rearranging and decluttering. But this step is about learning to listen to your nervous system and your home. Sometimes the act of noticing is the very first form of healing. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so another one is the object audit. And I really love this one. I've done this several times myself. So, for something a bit more, so it's a bit more tangible, right? So, for those who like that tangible activity, pick just one shelf, one tabletop, or even the top of your dresser. It doesn't matter. Look at every single item there and then ask, is this connected to who I am now? If it belongs to a past version of you, a hobby that you've outgrown, a phase you've moved through, or something that carries old emotion, thank it and gently let it go. It's not about minimalism, it's about meaningfulness. Every single object in your home should hold a conversation with your present self.
Yes, I once told a client, your objects are emotional anchors. If too many of them are tied to the past, you'll keep circling old stories. But when you release with gratitude, you create space for the new energies that's waiting for to enter.
Yeah, beautiful.
And the third practice, one of my favorites, is what I call the reset corner. Choose a small space just for yourself. It could be a chair by the window, a cushion on the floor, a desk corner, or even a tiny shelf. And reimagine it as a sanctuary that reflects who you are right now. Add something that feels alive, a small plant, a candle, a soft throw, a book that inspires you. Let this space whisper, this is me now. It doesn't need to be a big or perfect, it just needs to feel true.
And what's beautiful about the reset corner is that it grows with you. You can change it every season, right? Or whenever you feel your energy shifting. So it becomes like your personal mirror, reminding you that you are always evolving, something we need to remember, and your home can evolve right alongside you.
Exactly. These micro shifts may seem small, but they are incredibly potent. They are like energetic edits, little acts of reclaiming your space and by extension, yourself.
Yes, because when you shift your environment, even in tiny ways, what you're doing is signaling to your mind and body, I'm ready for something new. I'm ready for something new. And that's how change begins quietly, intentionally, one corner at a time. Okay. If this conversation is resonating, we'd love to hear from you. Take a moment and share your reflections below, maybe even an insight, if you've had one, that surfaced while you were listening. Where in your home do you feel most out of sync right now? Is it your workspace that feels maybe heavy, a bedroom that no longer feels restful? Or maybe it's not a space, but a certain energy that feels stuck.
Yes, because often the moment you notice the disconnect, the healing begins. Awareness itself is a form of design. It starts rearranging things within you and before even you move a single object. And if you would like to go deeper, maybe you're in a season of change or you sense your home no longer fits you, who you are becoming, reach out to us. Send a message or drop a comment about what's shifting for you. We love hearing your stories. Every home has its own rhythm and wisdom. And sometimes all it takes is a small conversation to help it breathe differently again.
Ah, I feel that breath. So, let's continue the dialogue about homes that evolve with us, not against us. Because when your environment reflects your current truth, you naturally start living more authentically, more peacefully, and more you.
Yes, our last space and self sprint was such a revelation. It's incredible how deeply people connected with their spaces once they slowed down to actually listen to them. Women shared stories of transformation that began with the smallest gestures, a cleared corner, a repositioned chair, a moment of morning light allowed back in. What amazed me most was how these micro shifts rippled into emotional change. One participant told us, I didn't realize my desk was carrying so much of my old stress until I cleared it and suddenly felt like I could breathe again.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? And another shared something that really stayed with me. And she said, I stopped fighting my home and it started healing me. I mean, that's so powerful. That's the essence of this work, isn't it? You know,
Yes.
when your space stops being a battleground and becomes an ally,
Mm.
everything in life starts moving with more grace.
Exactly. It's not just design, it's realignment. Each shift, no matter how small, becomes a quiet act of self trust. You start realizing your home is not separate from your healing journey, it's part of it. And we are so excited to share that we are preparing to launch our New Year, New You Space and Self Sprint this January 2026. It's our annual reset, a time to consciously align your home, your habits, and your inner rhythm with the energy of a new year.
Yes, it's 5 day immersive journey, gentle but deeply transformative. Every day focuses on a specific theme, clearing, grounding, intention setting, sensory balance, and renewal. You'll receive daily reflections, guided micro activities, so it's practical as well, and live conversations with us to help you refresh your space and your mindset so that your environment truly supports your becoming in 2026.
If you'd like to be part of that journey, you can join the waitlist now. And for those who prefer to explore in their own rhythm, we've also created the Space and Self ebook, a beautiful image rich guide that walks you through the foundational steps of spatial and emotional alignment.
It's the perfect starting point if you're craving calm, clarity, and reconnection. Because when your home rises to meet your evolution, life starts to flow with more ease.
We would love for you to experience that. The links are below. Join us, download the guide, and let's begin this new year with spaces that truly reflect who you are now.
Wonderful. Absolutely. So, wow, thank you so much for spending this time with us today. Remember, your home, is not just where you live, it's a living reflection of how you live, what you value, and who you're becoming.
Yes, and every intentional shift, a cleared surface, a softened light, a corner that truly feels like you, is a step towards alignment. Because when your space holds you with care, you naturally begin to live with more calm, confidence, and connection.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, as you move through your week, notice your surroundings. What feels nurturing? What feels heavy? And allow your home to evolve with you.
We just can't wait to see you next week for our next space and self conversation. Sleep like you mean it. Designing for deep rest. It's one of my favorite topics because rest is where renewal begins.
Yes, 100%. So we will see you soon. And remember, take care of your space and take care of yourself.